Okay, so I was recently learning some of the 100% sections in Mega Man 6, and I was probably a bit disappointed in that it didn't really vary that much from any percent, other than a few very small sections. So I started to think to myself, well, what could you change about the game that would still allow you to play it like you would any percent, in terms of being able to use weapons, being able to do slides and stuff like that, but maybe being able to explore some of the less used routes. And I came up with this idea of doing E-Tank percent. So you could do this in theory with any Mega Man game, but I thought it fit quite well into this particular one, just because of the way you've got different routes in Mega Man 6. So the point of this video is really just to show where all the E-Tanks are located and why it could be an interesting category to run. So I suppose the first point to pick up on is, so right from the get-go, you'd actually have to do Flame Man first. Wind Man first wouldn't really be viable because there's a E-Tank in Wind Man which you can't actually pick up unless you've got Jet, whereas the E-Tank in Flame Man anyone can get. You don't need any special weapons or abilities to grab it. So for that reason, you've pretty much got to do Flame first. So first E-Tank here, I think everyone knows about it. Obviously, in any percent, most people would probably not pick up that E-Tank because it's an extra 2 or 3 seconds, which you generally aren't going to want to lose, but some people may pick it up anyway, so for them it wouldn't be any different. So the only real difference is you're doing Flame first here, and then you've got to learn the Flame Man fight Buster only as well, which could be fun for some people. So then we go into Blizzard Man. So there's actually 2 different E-Tanks in this stage. First one is in this room. So I've never actually seen anyone at all pick this up in any percent, because it's too much of a hassle to grab, because you've got to jump up here, switch over to Flame Man's weapon, use ammo, which is at a premium in this level. But yeah, that's what you'd have to do to actually grab the E-Tank, the first E-Tank in this stage. And again, there's another E-Tank which we always see but no one grabs because, again, it's way too much of a hassle in an any percent run to switch weapons to grab this one. So you wouldn't be able to do better if this was a category. For this reason, you've got to switch to POW, break that block there. You've then got to switch back to POW. Switch back to Flame, just to speed up the grabbing, slide back over here, and then you can just slide on through to the ladder to get you up to the next part of the stage. So, the next E-Tank in the route would be in Tomahawk Man, because there aren't any E-Tanks in Plant Man stage, but yeah, you would have to do Plant Man before Tomahawk. So this E-Tank I personally didn't know about at all until I looked into the E-Tank locations in Mega Man 6. It's actually on the first screen here, so it might be news to some of you as well. It's a bit of a hassle to get because you've got to switch to POW to break one of the blocks, which then spawns the E-Tank. But again, I mean, it's a bit different to any percent, so it's something to optimise. So first part you're doing the same, you've got to switch to POW around about now, because you've got to break this block here, which spawns the E-Tank. Then you can switch back to Flame, and you can can do the first half of the stage as you normally would. So you can see here I'm actually on Jetman's weapon. Jetman's not even Jetman, there isn't a Jetman. But yeah, essentially you've got to be on Jet at this part of the stage, because we're going to have to take the top route here instead of going through the Skullwalkers. And as you may have guessed, the reason for that is because there is an E-Tank up here, which again I didn't really know about. Yeah, it's not a difficult section, but it's a different screen that again you wouldn't see in ordinary circumstances. Not sure why I switched back there to refill flame, because you definitely wouldn't need it since you're actually skipping all these Skullwalkers anyway. So yeah, better to just go off there and then switch to flame once you've walked through the weapon ammo. Those are the E-Tanks in Tomahawk Man stage. And again, another E-Tank here which we always see but no one grabs because you've got to switch to Jet to grab it. So you just kill them as you normally would. But yeah, you've got to switch to Jet, fly up here, make sure you grab that, and then you can switch back to Spear and finish off the stage as you normally would. So this for me is the most interesting part of this potential category. And I actually had no idea there was a route, there was a different route accessible from the first screen of this stage. And possibly some of you may not have been aware of it either, but if you slide down here and break this block, there's actually quite a substantial few screens after this which you wouldn't see in ordinary circumstances, but you would have to do this route in this category if it was one. And the cool thing is you actually get to see a mini-boss which you wouldn't see in the other categories. Not really sure if he's weak to flame or what he's weak to, but I just figured it was a safe enough bet. So here's the E-Tank here. As you can see, you've got to switch to POW to break that block to grab it. And one thing I'd point out is you can't actually switch back to Jet after you grab this, because there's a section on the next screen where you've got to slide. But yeah, I don't know why I switched to Blizzard, because that's absolutely pointless. But you've either got the Unbuster or some form of a weapon, because on that next screen there's a slide section, and this here is the reason why you can't really do Wind first, or you could, but you'd have to revisit the stage if you opted to do this category Wind first. Again, I don't think I did this properly. I think you're meant to be on Jet already by the time you activate this flip switch, and then you can just fly up and grab this E-Tank here. But this was just like a one-take thing, so... So there's the E-Tank there, just in that small gap. So then, I don't think there's any more E-Tanks until X3. And this one's, it's not difficult, but it's very out of the way, because you've just got to climb up, Jet up through this section. I think here I switch back, but I don't think there's any point in doing that really. You're probably better off just staying on Jet, because you've got to jet up to that right side ladder. Again, another E-Tank which we see but never grab. So you've just got to slide back to the left after you break this power block. And then you can switch back to Night and finish the rest of the stage. Well, I suppose this bit might be a bit different for some people. Personally, in any percent, I always just grab it because I'm usually at really low health by the time I get to the boss. So I normally just take a back deboost here and grab that E-Tank. So for me, that's no different, but for other better players, they probably bypass that E-Tank. So this is another interesting E-Tank. I had to do this one a couple of times to figure out how you're meant to grab it. So you've got to go over to the right side ladder first of all. You'll see the E-Tank spawn where my cursor is now. So you'd think, oh, you just hold left and then grab the E-Tank. If you hold left when you're falling into this room, you actually fall through a gap in the floor. So you've got to hold right. And then you've got to jump over an invisible gap and you can grab it, and you've got to switch back to POW to get yourself free of this small room, and then you can switch back to Spear and finish the stage. So I used to grab that E-Tank ages ago when I first started playing this game as like a safety tank. Wouldn't do that now, but you'd have to do that if you were trying to collect them all. You would also have to actually do the Yoku blocks, because there is an E-Tank up here. It's not that difficult, this room, but it's kind of fun just to see a different section which you wouldn't see in any percent. So there's the E-Tank there. And there's a weapon energy you fall into, so I haven't really thought about it, but maybe there's some scope for messing about with the ammo routing, if you take that into account. And then last E-Tank, which no one wants to grab, but sometimes you're kind of forced into grabbing it if you mess up at the start of this stage, is this one here. A bit annoying if you do fall into this pit, because it's a few seconds time loss, but obviously if you're trying to get all the E-Tanks in the game, that's what you'd have to do. And that's pretty much it. So, haven't tried running it myself, but it was kind of fun just seeing where all the E-Tanks were actually located. And yeah, I don't know, if the mods want to add this as a category, could be something fun to run. Could be some interesting routing possibilities there. I don't know, but yeah, thought I'd just make this video anyway, just for something, just to give some people some food for thought.